Welcome to Creative Pages with Catherine. I'm Catherine, and it's time for my next challenge from our 101 Scrapbooking Ideas and Sketches book. I'm going to be working from page 30 this time in our book. I do jump around a little bit, but I'm highlighting it all, marking everything up so that way I know which pages I've done and which pages I still have to go. I'm determined to get through all 101 this year, and we're well on our way to doing that. So this time I'm going to be working with the Welcome Baby Blue collection. So we have one more in the Welcome Baby collection to do, the one that has the greens and the yellows, but thought I would start with the purple and the blue first. The purple collection video came out on Thursday, and this one is out now. So I hope you all will check all of them out. And if nothing else, it gives you an idea for a sketch interpretation that you can use pretty much with any collection. So let's get things started. Here it is, page 30. And with all the other ones, I have been marking what my mat sizes are going to be on the layout. And with this one, I do punch 2 of our bearers of Border Maker cartridge for this layout as well. I have the blog post with our original sketch linked if you want to see how they put their page together. But I'm turning mine into a 2-page layout. We tend to use a lot more of these in our scrapbooks, so that's what I am focusing on as well. This is what your Bear's Border Maker cartridge looks like. I do have a short that shows off and talks about the sizing of the bears if you want to check that out on my channel here. And we are going to use the same page for the base of this layout, the blue clouds that have the gingham on the back. For my other paper I'm using for this layout, I am using the page that has the light white background with the very light blue speckles on it. It does have the ombre on the back, and we will be using both sides of this page. And you'll also see it on our card that we're going to make today as well. I punched our bears from the same page, just from the lighter end of the ombre. So this is definitely from the lighter end of the ombre. What I did was I cut 1 inch off of the end of the ombre, and then I took a 2.5 inch piece for the top of my layout here. This is with the Colonial blade, which I also have a short showing this one up close as well. It does have just a really unique look to it. I wanted my ends to kind of match as we went through. I used the Colonial blade. I cut off 1 inch first from the end of the light end of the ombre because I didn't want it super light. That's what I punched my bears from. And then I went ahead and I flipped it. I cut it 2.5 inches once I had it lined up. And then I flipped it again to get my next 2.5 inch piece that's going to go on the other side of our page. So that is the Colonial blade and the flipping that happened. I have 2.5 inch strips from that. And we are going to pull out our 0 centering rulers. Let me grab my mat here as well. And I want to place this right at 1.75 inches from the top of our page. I know, unusual for me, but I do have quite a few things that I need to get onto this page, and I just thought it would be good to have it a little bit more uniform and cohesive going across both pages here. I guess I could check that on this side of the ruler too, huh? 1.75, yep, that looks great. Lined up nicely, and there we go. Next, I'm going to grab my repositionable tape and my bear, I'm putting the ombre side up as well because it's light enough. It's showing up nicely. Actually, let me make sure that that's what I'm doing. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. So we're going to have our ombre side up. So flip that over. When you work with cardstock, you don't have to worry about the flipping. When you work with our designer paper, because it's double-sided, you do need to remember to flip. And we kind of want to center this. That I just eyeballed, but you know what? Since I pulled out my ruler for the other part, and I know I have 2.5 inches, I know I need to line it up about 1.25 here to be centered. Here's my 0. And look at that, going right through the middle of that end circle. Ha! Sometimes I'm getting pretty good at this thing, this scrapbooking thing. It's kind of fun. I like it. I'm sure you all like it too if you're watching my channel, and I truly appreciate you watching because I do try to do some interesting and different things here. So now we are going to run this border sticker that has the, I don't know, it almost looks like a cotton flower on it along underneath our bears here. And we want to make sure we can see our colonial because we took the time to make this pretty little edge on our paper. So we want to make sure it can be seen as well. And that is that for the beginning of our page. I'm going to add a couple of 4x6 mats. These are all 4x6. All of my pieces I cut from the ombre and blue speckled. So you can see the back side of this is blue ombre. I also pulled out one of our mats and I cut it in half. This is one of the 4.5 by 6.5 mats. It has the green rainbows on the back side of it. So our mats and stickers are kind of more neutral with this collection, and they are with the Welcome Baby area, I guess, if you will, the regular Welcome Baby, whereas the blue and the purple are the, I don't know, maybe gender specific collections, if you will, but not necessarily, because you can use blue with a girl and you can use purple with a boy as well. So up to you what you want to do with it and what kind of photos you want to put on here. But in fact, I have my daughters using the purple collection for a recipe book that she's been working on. So you just never know what you can get away with using any of our collections for. And I've got this reed over here that I know is going to go down here. So I kind of want to place it, and I don't mind it overlapping my box just a little here, but I'm going to move this up and over just a hair. There we go. And finally, actually I put tape on that one, and I wasn't going to put tape on it because we are actually going to put foam tape on it. I want it to be popped up because it does layer over this other one just a little bit. And I want to make sure it's popped up so that way I can get my photo in underneath here. So I'm actually going to mark this real quick with a couple of pencil marks. Usually I use my finger. I guess maybe I'm just not feeling that confident today, or maybe because we're doing a little bit more than what I usually do. I want to make sure I get within the lines that I want to be in here. And I don't want my photo to sag at all. So we're just going to take a couple of, it's about 1.5 inches, 1 3/4 pieces off of our foam tape. I am using my microchip scissors because they are sharp and they have that special coating on them that keeps from getting gooped up like regular scissors. Oops, I'm sticking to that piece of tape runner that I ran in there, so don't waste your tape runner. Here we go. Okay. Just pull those up, and here we go. So this is also going to add just a really interesting extra dimension to your page as well. And it's going to go about a quarter of an, or I'm sorry, it's about a half inch in from both sides of our edge here. Looking good. All right. So we'll just push that down and you can see where we can easily get our photo from this one above. And a lot of times you do, you have that background kind of on your photo. So I think it's going to be okay if we're popped up and then also kind of covering up just this little bottom portion of your photo on this one. I also have, so I've got our read that's going to be down here. I have some stars that are going to be up here. I pulled our handsome like my daddy and the mobile, which we used in our other layout as well. Let's do this, I think, going this way. So again, we're going to overlap our piece just a little bit here, but we'll still be able to write in it, no problem. Just want to get my spacing well here. And then I also have 3 bumblebees that I pulled, or I punched with our bumblebee punch. And that one is one of our standalone punches. So it punches a single bumblebee at a time. I did not cut out the little bit to fill in because I kind of wanted them to be almost a shadow of our bumblebees. And then I pulled out a couple of our enameled embellishments. So this one kind of is more of a, I don't know, a bedtime, sleepy time. It might be great with photos of, reading a book before bedtime with a child, something along those lines. I'm going to go ahead and pop up our stars here. And that's going to go up here in the corner of our page. You just want to make sure you get it within the edges of your page so you can put it in your pocket page and get your page protector over it. This one's going to go straight onto the page. And I just found this extra little pop of color. It just kind of adds to the whimsy a bit of our page. And it adds just a little bit of extra color that's probably going to be in your photos as well. So I kind of want this hanging offset just a little bit. Oops, I guess I need to put it down first. Okay, so here's this one here. And handsome like my daddy right here. I'm just going to overlap our mobile just a little bit, but I can still see the kind of the little hanger knot, if you will, that's holding the mobile up, I guess. Get my bumblebees down. One of these days, I'm going to not be so allergic to Washington anymore. Thank you all for bearing with me on that too. That feels like it's been a long road here. I love spring, but whoo, apparently I am really allergic to the Pacific Northwest. It just is what it is. All right, and then our little moon with our stars up here at the corner as well. All right. And that is the left side of our page. Here's a quick close-up of it. You can see where the bumblebees kind of just have that little bit of a shadow effect at the top of the page. Because, of course, your photos are going to be the main star. But it just also gives a little bit of extra interest and movement across the page as well. Moving into the right side of our page, we have 3 4x6 mats that are going to go onto this side. But first, we're going to go ahead and get our border piece placed across the top again as well. The 2.5 inch that was cut with the colonial blade. And let me get this because I wanted 1 3/4 again. And I could bring in the other side of the page, but I'm going to bring in my ruler again. There's 1 3/4. Oops. Okay. And then we'll leave it out for when I do the, make sure I'm, yep, right on target there. And get my repositionable tape on my bears as well. And we'll center this one again also. Let's see, 1 1/4 and right here through the middle of our little circle. All right. And then we also have the other border sticker that has the, I don't know, I thought it was a cotton flower, but if somebody knows, you can definitely leave me a comment and let me know what these flowers are with this collection. Again, we're going just above the bottom of our border here so we can see that really pretty colonial blade showing, or the cutting we did with the colonial blade showing across the bottom. Okay, this one is going to be about 1 1/4 inch from the bottom. I need to get my ruler again for that. And then we are going to put this one closer to the edge, about 1/4 inch. And then this one is going to be this way because we have another reed that's going to come in on this end, and it's going to be underneath our it's going to be underneath our photo here because we're going to pop this one up again. And we have this little bumblebee that's also going to come in because, you know, this is kind of what inspired me to punch the bumblebees to go along the top of our page. Just seemed like it just really fit, worked well. I also have the little swaddled baby and our wreath that's going to go up here as well. And finally, our other star coming in from the opposite corner, if I can pick it up here. Goodness, there we go. So that is what our page is going to look like here once I get everything stuck down. But first, I want to get my placement of this first mat. And these, again, are all 4x6 mats. I went maybe a little bit smaller than what I usually do. I think it just seemed to work for this page. I'm going to give it about, what did I say, an eighth? I think I'm going to give it about 1/8 inch, not 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch from the edge of the page here. And this one is probably going to be about 1/4 from the top and the side. Coming down here. Center that. And there we go. And then this one is going to get the foam tape again. And so I need to go about here and here. Okay, like I said, sometimes I use my fingers, and I'm going to grab my pencil again just to make sure I get it inside these edges here. Grabbing out my foam tape again. that over just a little bit, and we are going to give this about a 1/4 of an inch from the bottom of the page, 1/4 of an inch in. All right, there we go. And then it's not going to sag. It's going to be held up nicely by our foam tape there. Now we can start the placement of our embellishments. This little bumblebee coming in from down here to catch up with his friends, heading up towards the top of our page. I want to make sure that this is within the edge of the page here. And we're going to add foam squares to this one, but let's go ahead and get our bumblebees placed down. And I kind of did them in a up and down, kind of like diagonal pattern, so it does give that little bit of movement again through the page. I just love the whimsy of it. Let's go ahead and place our baby swaddled with our wreath, or on our wreath. I just think it looks so pretty together. Again, making sure my placement is below the top of the page here. And then we'll grab a couple more large foam squares for our stars for the corner here. All right, there we go. Here's the right side of our page, and I will pull in our sketch again so you can see what I followed from it and what I didn't follow from it here. Everything looks to be lined up pretty well through the middle of the page here. Scoot it over just a little bit. I switched up my logo, so now it's a little bit more see-through. I didn't like that I was covering up part of our pages here, so hopefully you can see the stars up there. But here is what our sketch was like. They do have a layered border up here in the top. They had this large title, and for me, I definitely went smaller with my title. I just put the little handsome like my daddy. And they do have the 2 photos, although their photos are 5 by 3.5. And I, of course, went a little bit larger with the 4 by 6 mats. All right. There we go. I hope you all liked seeing my interpretation of this sketch. Let's get our card put together as well. Time for our card. I have pulled out one of our blank cards from our blank card kit. This sheet here is the same one with the ombre on the back that we used on our layout. This piece is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And I have a note here that I must have made a little mistake in my cutting. So I'm just centering this in between the, I'm centering this just, you can see where I have just a little bit of 1/8 of an inch border all the way around my card here. With my paper, I'm using the blue dot side of the paper up for the base part. And okay, I'm gonna get these little corners reinforced with my repositionable tape. Should have thought to have done it before I pushed it down, but you know what? It's okay. Repositionable tape is really forgiving. And you can just use the tape runner upside down like I am. If you don't know, I am going to have a video here soon for this, but there's a wheel in our tape runner. And usually the spokes of the wheel are up at the ceiling when you're using it. So when you're using it upside down, you don't see those spokes, and you kind of almost have this little finger placement, if you will. That was something that confused me a lot when I was first starting to learn how to use the tape runners. I kind of thought this would be more natural, but it's the opposite. It's with the wheel spokes up. So wheels up on your tape runners there. These two pieces. So this is where I have the note. I have a 1/2 inch by 4 inch piece. I'm going to usually be using the ombre side up, and it's just going to go across the bottom of my card here. I have a note that y'all are going to have 3/4 of an inch because I must have cut something different when I was doing my scraps here. I think when I was doing the piece for the center, I wound up just taking off that extra 1/4 of an inch, thinking I liked how this looked centered. This one is a 4 inch by 1 inch with the Colonial. This was that scrap that I cut off at the very beginning when I was getting ready to use the Colonial blade for that border strip that went across our layout. So let's go ahead and center this on our card at the top. And I'll center the other piece at the bottom. I'll just use my repositionable tape on both of these. There we go. And then I pulled a couple of our embellishments. I have our baby on board, and then I have our little mama and baby duck. And with this one, we're going to go ahead and use our repositionable tape on it. We're going to place mama and baby at the bottom of our card here, centered. And then we're going to place our baby on board on a foam square at the top. Maybe a couple of foam squares here. All right. Here we go. Okay. There we go. That's our card. I just thought this might be a really cute way to send maybe to one of the grandparents to let them know that you're expecting. Wouldn't that just be the cutest card to get in the mail from your child or grandchild? And they're letting you know that they're expecting. You can even use the yellow or green or purple as the highlight on your card if you already know the gender. But just really cute, a very sweet card. I thought it was something just to highlight this collection as well. So that is it for this Welcome Baby Blue collection. I hope you all enjoyed seeing my interpretation of the sketch. Please leave me a thumbs up if you liked it, or put a comment in the comment section. I especially would love to know what that flower was that we used on the layout. Otherwise, I think it's time for me to say until next time.